Hi, my name is Dr. David Peat, and I'd like to give you some background on the book Crisis Relief from Chaos to Calm. If you're on this website, you've done a little bit of digging about me, so I won't go into any of that. If you want more info, you can go to my homepage. First, about the title, From Chaos to Calm, it seems to hit a chord with teachers because they want that for themselves and their students, particularly after they're dealing with a crisis either at a personal level or with their class or, unfortunately, with a whole school sometimes. So a little bit of background on myself. I have been a psychologist for many years, working mainly in schools and for school systems in Canada, also in Singapore, Qatar, and some other places. But this book grew out of the work we initially did in the Yukon when I'd be lying in bed and I'd be listening to the news, and there'd be a news report of some crisis somewhere in the Yukon, and I knew that I'd be on the plane or driving to that school that day to work with another psychologist, Peter White, who's the co-author of this book, and we'd have to deal with the situation in the schools. Then, as I gained more experience and was working in different countries, the tsunami hit a couple of years ago. I was called to the Maldives, worked in the Maldives, India, and Sri Lanka in training frontline workers in communities as to how they deal with the crises in their communities with both children and adults. Then, unfortunately, the earthquake hit Haiti. Similar. Went to Haiti to see what could be done there and worked with people there in setting up programs for children. Since then, I've done a lot of work in teacher preparation in Canada. Right now, I'm recording this from Afghanistan, which is one country that is a fragile state post-war, continuing with various bombings and so on. Also worked in the Middle East and Asia in teacher preparation. What I found about teachers is they always want to do what's best. They want to do what's best for their students, for their children, but when it comes to various crises, they simply don't have the practical information that they need. They don't have the practical information about what to do when there's a child in their classroom who has just been through an accident. There's been a death in their family. Perhaps there's been a national disaster or, unfortunately, a school shooting. What do you do when those things happen in your school? So the book has a lot of background information about how children do respond to crises, but there's also very, very practical information that is entitled What to Do, and that's what would you do as a teacher when your students, one of the students in the classroom commits suicide or attempts suicide, when a child in your class has experienced a sudden loss of a parent, or with younger children, even a pet. How do you deal with family crises as a teacher? And unfortunately, it's becoming more common. How does a teacher deal with a large-scale disaster, either a community or a national one? Also, what does a teacher do when faced with threats? The information, though, doesn't just sit with teachers. There's a lot of information at the school level and also at the school district level. It's designed so that the information is easily accessible. And particularly the color of the book actually was chosen because when there is a disaster, one of the first things that happens to a teacher, too, is because of the trauma, memory is affected. So easily accessible information. Very well-designed index, so it very quickly can access the information that's needed. What I have found in teacher preparation in Canada and other places I've worked, for example, even in Afghanistan, the information to teachers about what to do is not taught at universities. There's very few in-services about this, and teachers are at a loss what to do. So based on our experience, Peter White and I saw the need to produce such a book to be used by individual teachers, by school systems, by universities, And we just hope that, based on our experience that we've gained, based on a review of the literature that's very current, this will be helpful to you, that you'll be able to access it when there is a disaster strikes your classroom, either at the individual level or, I hope you don't have to experience this, but at the school level or national level. So that's about all I have to say about that. And if you do order it, I hope it'll be helpful. You'll notice that there's other free document that you can download that comes from work that was done in the Maldives that provides you with some information about the healing process and what kind of actions are appropriate during the various stages of the healing process. Well, thank you from Afghanistan, and I hope that this information is helpful.